question is, where do we start? When you talk about agility, a lot of folks will say, hey, we start from the methods. Agile came from XP and Scrum and Crystal and Adaptive and such. That's where the Agile Manifesto came from. Should we start from listing the methods? Other folks say, hey, let's start from the manifesto. An awful lot of folks in the modern world say, let's start from the mindset point of view. Let's start from a framework. Let's start from the practices. I've been known to argue that XP actually starts with practices and patterns, and the values and principles are kind of secondary if you look at the history and how people thought about it and how it came about, right? There's a lot of different choices on where to start with the topic of agility. I would like to propose that in general, it's best to start with a problem, right? If you are going to address any problem whatsoever, getting clarity on what problem we're having is central to, understanding the problem. So let's start with problems. Once I have some problems, let's talk about some generic principles for how to approach agility. Once I've got some principles around agility, then let's look at the question of domains in which we can apply Agile. And once I have those three, then I have room to look at solutions. Jumping way ahead to a conclusion, as I have been wandering around the country harassing people about doing things in a more agile fashion for kind of a lot of years. First XP class I taught was in 2000. As I've been doing this, I've seen a lot of cases where Agile fails to work. And I've come to a single conclusion. What is the biggest reason Agile fails to work? Well, it's pretty simple. I say, I have a hammer, I'm going to use the hammer, instead of saying, I have a nail that needs pounded. You start from a solution, start from a framework, start from an approach, instead of starting from, here's the problem that I'm going to be addressing. And I think that this hammer is a good way of addressing the problem. It's a very different model, and it's where more than 50% of the Agile failure I've seen over 20 years is starting from the solution. Hey, let's use Scrum, instead of starting from the problem.